Are you okay?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you think I was on the TV then?
I did.
Okay, we are here for the last time to talk about Star Trek Picard, as Vadik said,
Oh,
episode
thank
10.
God.
Whoa. Okay, I didn't expect you to say that because you're sort of been, out of the two of us, you've sort of been the cheerleader for this TV show.
I know, but this is the longest episodic thing we've done in a while.
Yeah, all true.
And it's only
All true.
been and it's only been about Star Trek Picard, so I'm like all Star Trek Picard burned out at this point.
You're burned out, dude. I was burned out by episode 5 or 6 when no when Ro turned up and died in the same episode. I was like, okay, I know where this is going. Fuck this show. But the first 4 episodes were probably the best cohesive episodes. This last
Yeah,
one is just a spaghetti of nonsense.
I could. When I watched this one, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait! You bet your fucking head was exploding."
Because my channel is growing, people have been putting their comments in the chat. A couple of people say they watched, and I'm saying they, by the way, because I don't know if it's a he or a she, not because of plural.
Mm.
They said that they wanted to see what I would say, and they wanted to see if I was one of those overly negative Trekkies ever since the mid '90s Star Trek. And then they said, then they said that thing, and I said, if I don't like it, then I'm going to say I don't like it. And they said, no, you're just spiteful. And I thought, how is it spiteful to be critical of something? I'm critical of it. Doesn't mean I'm spiteful. I just want it to be better. They were just projecting, and I just thought to myself, this is fascinating because now I'm getting some YouTube attention. On Twitter, I could understand if someone takes a tweet out of context because you don't have the raw emotion attached to
Mhm.
what the person is saying. But now on Twitter, now on YouTube, we're having fun. I'm having fun dissing it, and you're having fun defending it. And then people
Yeah.
still project. Still, people want to interpret their own meaning on the way you want to talk about something and just say you're spiteful.
Oh, they said you're spiteful.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they believe it. The
You're
internet is so
spiteful.
weird when they want to find what they want to find in whatever you've said, even though you've said it, and you can say with video, but I meant it like this. Doesn't matter. You were just spiteful. It's the way you said it. Like they'll always find another way to say that you're wrong and they're right about your words that you know how they were intended.
They just don't like your tone.
Probably not.
I'm defending it, so they don't hate me.
Well, you're practically anonymous anyway.
Yeah, good man.
It's hard to transfer energy from one social platform to the other. So I put your IG in the video, but have you got any follows?
No.
Me neither. So.
Yay! Zero interest.
Anyway, since I have zero interest, give me everything that you thought was interesting about this show, and I'll just contradict you as a spiteful contrarian.
Oh wow, I love this episode.
Really?
No.
Oh.
No.
On a 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Well, let's just not go down that road yet. Let me explain before
Okay.
I give you a score. You know
No,
what?
just get to the meat.
And I like to have fun with a lot of things and kind of be a bit, I don't take things too seriously. But this
Right.
was like there was a lot of things in this that I was like, what and why and I mean, I like the start where the president, is it Chekhov, is it his nephew or a relative or some shit? Like
Yeah.
he was doing a speech. Okay, I get that. That was cool. And then I thought Picard and the Enterprise logically were going to go to the cube straight away and go to Jack. They didn't, did they? They sort of went to Earth first and was like, oh man, shit's popping off and going down. The whole fleet's been taken over. I think so. I can't remember exactly.
I thought they were just warping to the solar system.
No, I thought they knew the whole fleet was getting taken over, and then they were like, "Oh, we better go to where it is." They found out it was at Jupiter.
Oh, I don't think they did. I think they were just warping into the solar system, and then they realized.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think so. You thought that was
Anyway,
confusing.
yeah. Well, there was that, and then there was the point of the Titan and Seven and Raffi taking the command, the bridge back. Okay, that's fair enough, but they could have done it a different way instead of coming along with like magic phasers that teleport them to the bridge, which came out of nowhere. Because I was like, where have they got them from? So I was just like, have they just made those now? And I know from further research that I had to do that those sort of technology has been used in a previous TNG episode or something. Well, no one else is gonna friggin' know that. Or did they have that in storage or something, or did they just mock that up together
They
and then?
Seven says to Raffi, "Well done, you've invented it." So they mocked it up.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah, like you say, the show doesn't know that Gambit, the two-parter episode Gambit from season 7, they already
yeah, yeah,
had transporters that could you could
yeah.
shoot at somebody and then just beam you up instead of disintegrate you.
That scene could have just been, instead of bigging up Raffi, they could have just gone, right, let's go to engineering or go to the teleport deck or whatever, work our way around to like use the teleporters to get the people off the bridge using it that way and then teleport to the brig or something.
Yeah, but they didn't have
Just do
control.
something like that.
They didn't have control of the
Yeah, but
ship.
how the hell did they get the
They had
guns?
to.
How
They
the
had to
hell did they get the
cloak.
guns?
The cloak. The guns are in the cabinet.
Yeah, but how the hell did they make up magical teleporter things?
I
It didn't make any
I
sense.
have no idea. But
It didn't make sense to me.
the bigger problem with that scene is now the series as a whole decides it's worth saving people's lives. You could have just killed them. There's no reason to keep them alive other than the fact that they're required for the ending of the episode because they've got plot armor. You can't kill that crew because that's the bridge crew that you will then see in a spin-off series maybe, or as those who are in command of the Enterprise G. That's
I
Sidney
suppose,
LaForge. You
but
can't kill Geordie's daughter.
well, no, they want to kill their own crew people.
Right, so they've got to make up the bullshit teleporter gun.
So there was that. It's kind of like straight away. That's a sort of
Okay. Before you
thing
move
for
on,
me. I was
though,
like,
the show has shown a disregard towards life, whereas in TNG and other Star Trek, Berman era Star Trek, the idea was that you don't kill people unless it was the last thing you could possibly do. So when Worf appears in episode 3 or 4 and just starts gutting people from behind, even kills that Ferengi who was no threat to him, Worf wouldn't do that in TNG. And from that
yeah,
moment onwards, it probably from when Beverly, but you can justify Beverly's response. But from that moment onwards, this show doesn't respect life, and then right at the end, they're saying, "Oh, we need to beam them and save them so that we can save them later, collect them and then
yeah,
save them later." It's like, come on,
yeah,
show. Okay, what was your
yeah.
next thing? Well, why didn't you tell me what you liked
Uh,
in case you come across as spiteful?
no, because I always tell you like the things I like first. So I'm gonna go for the negatives first for once.
Oh, okay, wow, okay.
Overall, I'd say that it was an okay episode, and I sort of they wrapped it up nicely. And I thought the sort of it was a nice send off for the TNG crew, even though they've had a send off like twice now. With I think was it Next Generation. They had an episode at the end of that tied up things nicely. That's what it was an homage to, wasn't it? The round table game of poker or whatever it was. Okay, the same thing. But like they did one in was it one of the movies as well? They had a send off. Was it Nemesis or Insurrection? I can't remember. Or
They
was it
toasted
like
each other in Nemesis, toasted to
yeah,
Data's death, and I guess Riker was leaving and whatnot.
yeah, so there was that. So I consider like there's already been two endings kind of thing with that as well. So now this is the third sort of ending for this crew.
So Lord of the
Um
Rings, the Three Kings ending, Return of the King ending. Sorry. Well, that's what you
to go
liked.
to
The ending.
no. Just overall the interactions with characters, the chemistry, the way you could tell
Okay.
that they were into it. They were into it. They were quite and there's some emotional scenes throughout this episode, which I could go, oh, that was cool. And that was nicely written. But there are some glaring omissions throughout this
Some.
episode. Yeah. That I noticed a lot. And I'm not a massive fucking fan like you are, so I noticed them. So they were big to me. So, like getting to the Borg cube, for instance. So they find it on Jupiter. Has it been there the entire time? Because if it has, why has Starfleet not seen the goddamn thing this entire time? Especially with antennas and everything poking out. When they get to the Borg cube, it's like he notices that it's like 36% capacity. It's
Operational.
been the Queen's like cannibalizing the whole thing to stay alive, basically. For some reason, the whole plan's in motion. She already has Jack and stuff. She knows the ship's turned up, the Enterprise D, and she's just like, yeah, let's lower shields and let them in. So there, I'm just like, why is she doing that? And then he's like, the one bit of dialogue is like, oh, it's an invitation. And I'm just like, but why?
Right.
Why?
That's what I was saying in other episode reviews. Sometimes the main character will say something, and that's just the way it is. That's their interpretation
Yeah.
is the way it is. It's
Mm.
exactly it's like they guessed correctly. I will defend this point a little bit. When they lowered the shields and they said it's an invitation, because I thought that Jack was reaching out to them. That's what I thought. But then I forgot
Mm.
that I thought that while I was watching. And so when I jumped on Twitter and other people were saying, why did they lower the shields? I was like, oh yeah, there was no payoff for what I thought
Yeah.
about. because that's the only way I thought would make logical sense to drop in the shields.
Yeah, I naturally went to that conclusion as well whilst watching it, thinking, okay, has he done that because he's wanting them to sort of get in subconsciously even?
You do know that wasn't one Borg cube. You know it was like an amalgamation of cubes.
Yeah.
Okay, because in Best of Both Worlds, Shelby, who was the admiral that died in episode 9, she said that you could destroy 70% of a cube and it'll still be operational. And this one was 36% operational. So it's under that 70% threshold that she calculated. But when they jump on board, there's like nothing on board in terms of defenses or drones, and yet that doesn't corroborate with the percentages. I expected more drones, but it's lucky that there were only 2 drones. Otherwise, Worf and Riker would have got creamed. Now, for your thing about why didn't Starfleet detect it, Dave Blass, one of the production assistants or producers of Picard, he said, I don't know, actually, you won't know this. Orbiting Jupiter is Jupiter Station. It's a huge space station, like the Daystrom station, but bigger. Supposedly, the Borg assimilated that. That's how Starfleet doesn't know. When did they assimilate Jupiter Station then? Because someone's not going to be like, where's Jupiter Station today? Oh, I don't know. Should we send a ship to find out? I guess so. It's a bit weird. And then there's no com traffic from Jupiter.
Are they like posing as Starfleet? Are they sent? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense. That still isn't an explanation. Like you say, like, why would nobody notice?
Thousands of personnel on board, more than a Galaxy class starship. There's like 1,000 people There's 1,000 people posted to the Enterprise. The Jupiter Station is bigger. It's got like 6 saucer sections stacked on top of one another. That's what it looks like, with other parts coming out. So I would assume it has at least 1,000 people on board. Not one of them cried help. Or the support starships, support ships, none of them cried help. The Borg cube just rinsed through them instantly.
That's what I mean. I think people just ask these questions on Twitter and then they just sort of have to quickly come up with an answer. And it's just like, it doesn't ring true. It doesn't answer the question.
But the more you think about it, the more you stop and think about it, you realize this plot doesn't work.
No, there's so many holes. There is so many holes. This episode did leave me like I said, the only thing I liked about it was the characters and stuff like that. But then the overall plot and the overall story was just had so many problems. And even like simple little bits of simplicity could have like probably amended some of the glaring problems that are in there. And they didn't even think to implement any. I know a lot of it's budgetary, but then you can only blame that so much on that.
Supposedly, because of the budget and other COVID-related issues, because they filmed this, remember, just after season 2, when COVID was still a thing, Admiral Janeway was supposed to be in the show, along with Captain Kim, Harry Kim, and they wanted to do a few other things as well to tidy it up, but they just didn't have. Oh, and Deanna Troi, the person who plays Deanna Troi, she turned up late or she was delayed, so that affected her scenes as well. So there were all sorts of little production issues in the background.
It was the budget, wasn't it? That's why Janeway didn't get put in it. That's what I've sort of read as well. Apparently, like he wanted so many different people in it, like an Avengers type style thing, but he couldn't do it because of the budget.
Okay, so let's break this down into two things that you have already outlined. You got the character interactions, and then you've got the overall sort of climax, all the ships and everything. So you like the character stuff, you're saying?
I like the character stuff,
right?
But it's just the overall thing in this episode was like, it was a mess. It was like reeking of the stench of like seasons 1 and 2, and I'm like, oh come on, man, like pull it together a little bit. This is,
you see, for me, a lot of the character stuff didn't feel earned. So for example, Data says, I've got a gut feeling about this, and I'm going to take the Enterprise, like the Millennium Falcon, through the middle of this cube, which is basically a square Star Destroyer at this point, isn't it? Right?
They did the Star Wars thing.
That in itself is just terrible. All the more reason you should have got the Defiant, because that's what the Defiant is capable of doing, not the Enterprise D, because it's such a huge capital ship. It can't spin around like the Defiant. Anyway, Data says, I've got a gut feeling about this. And one of the things on the TV show was that he didn't have a gut feeling, or he discussed with Geordie about having a gut feeling. I guess to some fans, that's like a brilliant moment because it's a callback. But at the same time, within the episode structure of season 3, it doesn't make any narrative sense. Did any of the characters go through an arc? Did they go through this having learned something? The only 2 characters that did, maybe, and it's very tenuous because they only paid lip service to it, is Picard, who learns he has a son, but he doesn't really do anything. The show doesn't really do anything with it now that he's a father. And Data, you can make an argument that he learned something, but really he tricked Lore and he's just got different abilities. So it's not really the same Data. And the show says that. like through the production design and some of the other staff, they're saying it's not data. Do you think anybody else went through a character arc? They learned something.
I think you're meant to sort of like, I mean, we've known these characters for a long time. So for me, it's like they have earned these things because the history you know of, it sort of makes sense. Whereas if you're just watching it as a standalone, as someone who doesn't know, I suppose that would be right. They haven't really earned anything. But because you know these characters as a fan, it's sort of like those little callbacks, like say, like data and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it makes sense. So some of the interactions and some of the things that the characters experience, you're like, okay, yeah, it all makes sense. But to somebody else who's not so knowledgeable about it all, it'd just be like, oh, no.
Okay. Even Jack,
That's my
I don't
take on
think
it.
went through a learning experience because when Picard rescues him, he wants to be in the cube. He said, "This is what
Yeah.
this is what I wanted." So I don't understand. By the end of the episode, he's a cadet or whatever. He's a Starfleet officer. It's like, hang on, shouldn't he be held for war crimes? If Picard was taking the task for Wolf 359, then why is he like, I want the bridge. I'm in the captain's chair. I'm gonna fuck around here. It's like, well, shouldn't you be in jail?
I
He
did think
willingly
there
went
should
to
be
the
some
Borg.
yeah, no, if he was taken over, then it could be understandable. If his eyes went black and he sort of barged past
Right.
Troy at that point, see, they should have done that. Even that would have made more sense. If she was in his mind, and then all of a sudden he went like having an embolism or some shit, and his eyes went black, and he was like in a trance, and he went all fucking nuts, and just took those two guards, and then went off. Then they'd be like, oh, it's understanding. He's been taken over.
Right.
So that could have been a better scene just with that, but they didn't. It's just like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go face the Borg Queen on my own, blah. And then it's like, well, that's his fault. Well, what are you doing, show?
So physically, if you watch him as a character, like even Riker, you've just seen Picard's son willingly leave the Enterprise, sorry, the Titan. Whoa, there's a Freudian slip, and go to the Borg cube. And then when Picard goes and gets him, he's like, no, I like it here. So that's 2 times Jack is on the Borg side, where he's willingly like a willing participant. Like, come on, show.
Yeah, well, I suppose in the second part when he's in the Borg like Matrix thing, whatever, he is sort of in euphoria. Then is it like euphoria? Then he's like, oh, he's all Borgified. I suppose I could put it down to that. He's drunk with Borg sort of tech. So that's why he is saying, no, I want to stay here.
Yeah, but while he's drunk,
obviously,
he's knowingly killing thousands of people.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm drunk, I know what I'm doing.
How many times have you been drunk?
10.
Cool.
I actually know how many times I've been drunk in my life. 10 times. But you didn't expect that, did you? Huh? 10.
Fucking woo! You fucking animal.
Also have to take into account that, do you remember the episode where he turns all Jason Bourne and he just like executes 4 changelings? Never mentioned ever again. Never brought up. It's just for that particular scene to get him out of that scene so the changelings can't have him. He doesn't use those skills while he's plugged into the Borg. He doesn't like decapitate Picard. It's just Picard just talks to him.
He's not going to decapitate his dad. Come on.
No, but if he's not under control of the Borg and he wants to be there, why hasn't he self-actualized again? Why hasn't he activated, so to speak, and defended himself?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? The Queen's got a Borg shield. He hasn't for some reason, so Picard can touch him. Yeah. And then Picard gets the where is that? He gets a cable and just goes dunk in his head.
That was the other. Well, he put it in his neck, doesn't he? That was the other thing.
Whatever it was.
That's the other thing I didn't get. Yeah, he just shoves it in his neck. So I was like, oh, does that make any sense? That didn't make any sense to me either.
Right. How do you get into that's so easy to hack into the Borg mainframe?
I thought it's gonna like sever a fucking artery or something.
If you want to defend the show,
he's a robot,
right?
Isn't he? So
it's because he's a robot. But the show doesn't say that. He doesn't say to himself, "Hang on, I'm an android. I'll just stick it into my neck." The show doesn't do that. But for those watching, or maybe that person who called me spiteful, how is that spiteful? That's just pointing out a problem with the script and then trying to make it better. But the show doesn't do that. So you have to assume. And then when they get him out of the cube,
there's a lot of assuming.
They just just unplug.
Just yank it out.
It rips all the Borg stuff off. And yet for Picard, he had to have a medical operation because it was at the DNA level. And he's got the same Locutus setup on the Borg bit on the side. Yeah. It's so weird. Just like, right, we'll just rip it off and he's not Borg now. Why isn't his face pale? Why isn't he still sort of like delirious? Like, I feel human or whatever. Why isn't he going through the same withdrawals like Patrick Stewart did in Best of Both Worlds?
Yeah. It's stuff like that where it's like glaring problems that are just you're watching it and that's what pulls you out of this episode a little bit. And then I'm thinking, am I just overthinking it? But it's like, no, because these are like really bad problems that are just obvious problems. You've got to think of this as like a 10 episode, goddamn long movie type thing. So I'm like, okay, if I was apply movie logic to all this, does it make it any better? And I'm like, maybe. And you take it out the grand scheme of like Star Trek lore and stuff. But even then, it's like you're going a bit far fetched and it's going a bit beyond what is believable. I know we're talking about sci-fi, but I mean, come on, man, it's getting a little bit beyond a joke where it's like you're sticking cables in your neck and you're pulling them out, and then he's coming out of a trance, he's ripping all his Borg implants off, and people are like lowering the shields, and then she's doing a goddamn villain dialogue thing, which is telling Picard her entire plan. And I'm like, she's what is she doing? The Borg Queen's just like monologuing her entire plan.
Right. They're just
like,
having a chat, aren't they? It's so weird.
Yeah, like she's like, ha ha ha. Oh, what's going on right now? That again, that was the thing to me when I was watching it. Like, why would she be telling him all this? Why would she give a single shit?
Right. Why didn't she just ignore him or get Vox to kill him? Why does she care?
Yeah.
She's got to. Yeah. She's overly talky. And then at the same time, why does Picard say, "Take me"? He says it again. Take me. He did that in First Contact. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, some people say, "Oh, it's a callback and everything." Okay, I get it, but at the same time, it's just a repeat. It's like you're watching a story on repeat again and again and again, because we know Picard is willing to sacrifice himself.
I did like the scene with him and Jack. I mean, I know it's like kind of stereotypical scene, but I did like, because you can tell like Patrick Stewart's really like acting his ass off in that scene. And I'm like, I did like it. I liked it, but everything surrounding it is the problem. It's wasted. It's like wasted potential there. I like Jack as well as a character, but like he's now a bit sullied with this sort of plot and the storytelling. So I like the actor. The actor's great. I think he could be really have a lot of potential in a standalone Star Trek series. But then it's like, is it going to be any good? Because the way this is and the way other things have been in the past, Discovery.
Well, I can't speak to Discovery because I knew it was garbage beforehand. The show does do a lot of assuming, and they wrap that assumption, those assumptions. Oh, sorry, the assumptions that you have to sort of make to get past the plot is then wrapped up in callbacks and other references and repeats of moments to other things, and it doesn't make for a satisfying. I mean, I won't watch it again. There are people online who are just like masturbating over it, and I just don't understand how. Really, I just found it unsatisfying, and I want to like it. It's not like I've been a Star Trek fan since I was like 4 or 5. Why would I want to hate on the show? I don't intentionally want to hate on it, but when the show hates me, the show hates my intelligence. I have to sort of defend the standard that should come with Star Trek. It didn't used to hate me before. It used to just intellectualize things for me, teach me things.
I think Picard should have been like a standalone season. It shouldn't have been free, because it was just a shoot off of this one character of what he's doing now, and it should have just been a standalone one season affair. And I think maybe the guys did this season should have done it from the beginning. It might have been better. I don't know. Who can say? But at this point, you shouldn't have 3 seasons of just one character's journey doing some bullshit in between. It just doesn't make any sense.
The showrunner of season 1, Michael Chabong, who I affectionately call Michael Chabong because he must have been smoking some amazing ganja to write up season 1. His original idea was to have Picard in a small-scale story inside France, Le Bar, set in the Star Trek universe. And when I read that idea after season 1 came out, I was like, you know what? Should have gone with that idea, because that would have been really good. Small-scale thing. Picard solves a crime, and he's in his 80s. Doesn't upset the fabric of reality in any way whatsoever. You don't really see any starships or Starfleet officers. Maybe you see some phasers and some sounds, as callbacks. You're in that universe, and just have it as a little, Poirot or Agatha Christie mystery, Miss Marple-esque, and he can use his detective skills. To me, that would have been great. I'd have been happy with that.
It's great for you.
Well, for the canon, for the sake of fucking people's sanity, for the sake of not splitting the fan base, because you've basically ran season 3 through ChatGPT to give it a story that you think is going to hit all the emotional highs and lows of what Star Trek fans expect.
The studio would not be happy with that, JJ.
But at least his original idea would have been original. Take one character and put him through a little murder mystery. Maybe some guy is killing people with the replicators, or I don't know, someone tainted his fucking vineyard. He's got to find out who put the vinegar in his wine. I don't know.
You know,
Someone stole his dog.
what we're going to John Wick Picard.
Yeah.
CL.
That's good, actually. John
Oh,
Wick Picard. Can you imagine that?
John Wick Picard. Yeah.
And now you have a Russian guy who's like, a fucking pencil. He killed the man with a fucking pencil.
Oh no.
It's just Picard. He killed a man with a com badge. He strangled a man
Just froze it.
with his pips.
Just froze his com badge like a ninja star.
Yeah, it's got the old one though, because it's more pointy.
Yeah.
I just found out that Red Letter Media have done their review of Star Trek Picard episodes 8, 9, and 10. And somebody on the Discord already said they're sick of how much Mike says it's wonderful. I really want to watch this. So we have to hurry up, Adam.
Hey, we've got our own thing to do.
I know. But I'll be surprised. If he's really positive about it, I'll be really surprised. But I wonder if everything saved up for the last episode has really sort of made everyone happy.
Most people are positive about it. They are, most people.
Yeah. I know I'm part of a minority that's ever shrinking as Star Trek, air quotes, gets better.
It's hard to like, I don't want to overly criticize the show because I think this season has been an improvement, especially over 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 is just comparably shit. So obviously it's going to be, I mean, it's not hard to sort of probably be better than those because they were a fucking train wreck of different ideas and problems all on their own. Season 3, it is a step in the right direction. And those first few episodes, like you say, were good. It's just, it slowly tailed off a little bit into this same thing, right? And having the Borg come back and it's like, okay, an old enemy, we've seen this before. And then it's just gone down the same sort of path of just
predictability.
Yeah, and I said it had to be wrapped up quickly at the end, and it did. It wrapped up really quickly at the end. I think we had like 20 minutes left of this episode after they defeated the Borg. I was like thinking, what's going to happen here then? And it's just basically just what each character's doing and sort of wrapped up each of the characters' story arcs in those last 20 minutes. Like I said, the positives I can take away from it is like the character interactions and stuff like that. Also, I like some of the visuals. Some of the visuals were really good. Like the Enterprise D looked really good in some of the shots it had, as well as the interior was good. I didn't like the space battle with the fleet and the Titan broke away. I didn't like the fact that they were like holding their own against an entire fleet, but then cloaking and then decloaking and then sort of doing runs to try and distract them from hitting the Earth's space station.
Whatever Seven and Raffi were doing, it didn't move the plot whatsoever. They didn't do it. They didn't achieve anything. You could write a better ending for this show. And I think this is the other thing I wanted to talk about or cover with you. A lot of these TV shows and movies, when they start to go and catch something or explain something at scale, they can't handle all the permutations of the scale of the thing they've created. That's why I said to you for the episode 9 review, when they get there and they solve it, they're going to destroy the Borg cube and everyone becomes unborged and the starships go back to normal. Because that's the quickest and easiest way to handle all those permutations, all those moving parts. Yeah, thank you. And that's exactly what happened. Except now they don't know what to do with the Titan crew to do with Seven. And what they should have done when Raffi and Seven were like, "Oh, the Enterprise is D is in Jupiter." They should have gone to Jupiter, and then the Borg Queen, the one who lowered the shields, because we find out it wasn't Jack. The show doesn't say it was Jack trying to help them subconsciously. The Borg Queen should have sent some of that fleet after the Titan. So when the Titan does arrive at Jupiter, she brings a set piece that might be more worthy than just the Enterprise D doing the Millennium Falcon through the Super Borg Cube. And you have both of those ships take on, say, 10 other starships. And I said to you, I want to see the Enterprise F take on the Enterprise D. And we didn't even get that. But they could have sent the F with a couple of Mirandas and a couple of Defiants, and you would have something that Starship geeks would have fapped over for the next decade. They were just on the outskirts of the fleet. One ship is not going to do anything, and they think they're doing something by distracting the fleet from Space Dock or something. You could have done something so much better with that.
To me, in that scene as well, I just thought like the Federation is part of a wider collective of like other planets, and like would nobody come to the aid? Would there be no other ships besides Starfleet ships that be in the area Would
Klingon
nobody like
ships.
say, okay, we need some fucking help? Would nobody come? And I guess that boils down to like again budgetary stuff and stuff. But again, it's like, but why? Why? That's a brilliant plot point to have. It's like we have fucking allies. They'd be coming to like help because there's a big, existential threat in the Borg going to take basically, the capital planet of Starfleet, which is Earth.
Yeah,
There's going to be a big problem. The allies should be coming in, going right. We're going to help solve this now.
right.
We can't have that. So why was that not a thing? Like I said, that's a brilliant thing. But it's like the Titans should have gone, and then it would have lured some ships away. That'd have made more sense. And like I say, we would have had a better space battle between the D and the Titan, and then some other ships.
Something at smaller scale as well. I mean, you can still do the Enterprise finding Riker through Counselor Troy, which is a callback to Nemesis because she can detect him. You can still do that as they're fighting off other ships, lower the shields at the last moment or something, and then you beam out Mr. Jack Crusher. Could have had some Klingon ships sent there. Could have had Romulans go there as a payoff for something that they helped in season 1 or what Picard was trying to set up as a relief fleet in season 1. You could have had a huge battle. Instead, it was just phaser lines and torpedoes at the space dock, which somehow survived longer than it did, or was unnecessarily not, for some reason, it wasn't taken over by Borg drones. And people on Twitter were like, yeah, but maybe they were just like rushing and they didn't put everything into plan. But then it only takes one admiral to transfer 2,000 cadets or 2,000 under 25s to space dock.
The other explanation for that was like, I think they were using the planetary shields, so that's how the space dock survived so much damage, apparently. But I was just like, even then, I was like, that's far fetched.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The episode wasn't even clear who is generating the shields. Now, some people said it was space dock. There's no way space dock can generate shields for the size of Earth.
No, it was Earth apparently that was
right.
It comes from Earth, yeah.
But then the show said space dock's down and Earth's defenses are down. It's like, why? How are they both simultaneously down? Because you see them attacking space dock. So they're trying to say that the generators are on space dock, and then they get ready to fire all the major cities, and you know it's not going to happen. They take so long to get ready to fire. Like, get ready to fire. No, just fire. Just fire. Just do it.
I'd like to see some scenes on Earth as well, like because he said there was obviously people getting taken over on the planet as well. So I'd like to have seen some scenes on Earth as well, where they're struggling on the ground as well.
It's too clean. There should have been thousands of Starfleet officers on Earth under 25 just causing problems.
That's why it was too ambitious. I knew it was too ambitious to have this big enemy, this big plot device, and then it's just like it's too much for like just a one episode thing to do. It's just it was way too ambitious.
Again, I said to you last time, imagine if episode 9 was episode 1. You could have dealt with that. And then 1 year later, when you do the wrap up at the end, the Return of the King endings, 1 year later, Space Dock is back. That's fine. Yeah. The fleet, I assume, will be back.
That's the other thing as well. It was a year later, and most of the fleet was like in bits at the end of that. And I was thinking, rather than put the D back in the museum, why have you not just brought that back and just like updated it? Because you've got a Galaxy class ship there. Why not just use it? It's just got through the entire Borg thing. Why not use it? Obviously, it kicks ass still. It's only 30 odd years older, however old it is.
Dave Cullen on a live stream with Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and Mauler, he said it would have been a better ending if you have that Enterprise D, not in the museum, but in recognition of the deterioration of the fleet. Geordi says something like, we can still upgrade the ship because we're short on ships, right? That was the whole point of the Titan turning from a lunar class into a Constitution version 3 class because they were short on ships. So do that again. And Geordi can say something like, oh, let's put a third nacelle on this thing and update it. And then you've got the All Good Things reference. And then you have Captain Riker command it, and he can say something like, "Oh, I finally got a chance at the chair" or something. That would have been better. Still, extreme fan servicey, but it would have made more sense because the Enterprise D is only 40 years old. And we've got warships that are designed to last 50 years, and spaceships should be of better materials that they could last 100 years. I mean, they do anyway because the Miranda and the Excelsior class starships are in this TV show, and they're almost like 150 years old now. So why the Galaxy?
Yeah, that should have been kept. I don't understand why it's back in the museum.
Yeah,
but that would have been a better ending as well.
Right. Yeah. And the Defiant, which is only like 20 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd have been that'd have been a way better ending. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then, I mean, if should we get to the most ridiculous part? They tried to do the whole end of Star Trek 4 thing, where they think they're going to get the Excelsior, and then behind them is the Enterprise A, the new one, right? For them to turn up and realize that the Titan has now been rechristened the G. Somebody pointed out, this is like Ray being called a Skywalker at the end of Rise of the Skywalker or whatever that movie was, because you've got the emotional attachment of the Skywalker and the brand name attached to this character who hasn't earned it. And this ship is basically in the same situation where you transferred the Enterprise name to now a new crew, and yet the Enterprise is supposed to be the best ship in the fleet. Not necessarily the most technically best ship, because the Galaxy class was the same as the Yamato as well as the Odyssey, but the prestige line of ships, just like the Sovereign, there was a USS Sovereign as well, never mind the Sovereign class. The Enterprise is now a mid-ship level. It's just like, why do that? Because if you do get the spin-off show, you've got Seven, you've got Raffi, you've got LaForge, you've got Jack Crusher, and oh my god, they're on the Enterprise. Oh, I can't wait to watch Star Trek Legacy. Why can't it stay the Titan? Yeah, right.
Stay the Titan, yeah, it should have stayed the Titan.
What's wrong with that name? It earned its stripes, so to speak. If you accept everything in the show, it earned its place in the history books.
Yeah, it should have stayed the Titan. It's gone through all of that just to be rechristened. That doesn't make any sense because you've still got the D there. So just use that as the Enterprise, because it is the fucking Enterprise.
Well, you've got the D and you've got the A. The A is still serviceable. It's just ancient.
Yeah.
But the D is still there. And people online are saying, yeah, but the F was going to be decommissioned. And so many STO fans, Star Trek Online fans, are so upset that the canon of the game is not integrated into the TV show, because the F is just cannon fodder, just like Shelby. When in the game, it was captained by an Andorian, and it went off on loads of great adventures. And yet the F is just one and done. It's just disposed with. And I thought they were launching the F. That's what I didn't understand. Yeah. Someone said, no, they're decommissioning it. I'm like, oh, is that old already as well? So the E was only 15 years old. The F was only like 15 years old. It's like they just want to rinse through these chips and just create a new one. They should have teased you and said, here's the Enterprise G being made. Yeah. And then they can say, that's something I wish to aspire to have. If you're Jack Crusher, you have something to aspire to. If you're Captain Seven, you can also aspire to want to have that. And you have this idea of wanting to be better still. But now they've accomplished everything. You've kind of kneecapped that idea of trying to be better. Imagine being posted on that, baby, because the Excelsior was technically better than the A, and everyone was like, oh, I'd love to have the Excelsior. And Sulu got to it, even though Scotty was like, fuck the Excelsior. Right? Because he was comfortable where he was, and that's also fine. But for Sulu, it meant promotion, it meant advancement. And the Excelsior is also famous. That's why the show keeps bringing up all the other Excelsior variants.
Again, with obviously the poaching legacy out there for a thing, if they're going to try and do it, being one of the focal points in the end, near the end of this episode. And I'm just like, why is Raffi on the bridge? It's like, why? Why is she number one? Why?
Okay, fair enough. I mean, at this point, I'm just like, whatever. The show's ending anyway. I don't care. Interestingly, some people online were saying, oh, the Enterprise G is woke and it's misandrist. You know what misandrist means?
Yeah.
For those that don't, it just means the opposite of misogynistic. Season 3 is not woke. And if I was being spiteful, I would find excuses like those people online are saying to say, yeah, this show is woke. And it's not.
No,
it's not misandrist either. Because if having Captain Seven, Raffi, and Sidney LaForge, and that woman with the butt head, whatever, if you've got 4 women on board the bridge, if that's misandrist, then surely we have to look at the Enterprise D crew and say that's misogynistic, purely by the fact that there are more men on that bridge than there are women.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're just counting the number of women. That's not misandry. And counting the number of men on a bridge is not misogynistic. And you can never have an equal 50-50 anyway, unless you've got, I said this on Twitter, but unless you've got the binars involved, you can never have a 50-50 split of gender or of the sexes.
I didn't find the show at all woke or anything like that, or pandering to some sort of,
agenda, objective.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, okay, it's great. It looks like a decent crew. I mean, on the face of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sidney LaForge, fine. Jack Crusher, fine. Raffi, I'm not watching it, but fine. I mean, and she's got a relationship with Seven, fine. They're not evil characters.
They sort of numbed that, didn't they? They sort of like, I think they did away with that. It wasn't so on the nose that it was like, it happened, but it's not really a thing anymore.
I think they just want to wrap everything up, especially for Raffi.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, her family care about her. I knew that show would do that. I knew it. That's another point about these characters don't go through an arc or a learning experience. Raffi is just like, oh, my son doesn't like me, season 1. Oh, my son doesn't like me, season 2. Or I'm upset about the world in season 2, whatever. And then season 3, her ex-husband is like, get fucked. Next scene at the end of the movie, at the end of the movie length, whatever. Can't speak properly. It's like, Well, that's resolved, isn't it? Because they saw you at Earth fighting. But she's a Starfleet officer. Anyway, that's her job. That's what she was doing all the time. Yeah, but she
Yeah.
wasn't on drugs this time. Technically, she was. She did a Renton from Trainspotting. Do you remember the last time he took one more fucking hit?
Yeah.
And then he diddled his friends, right? On the high of doing that. That's basically what she did. She was doing a Mark Renton. So she was on drugs. Because it happened in a few days. This wasn't an episode that lasted weeks. So she had something in the bloodstream.
Oh, fuck's sake. End of that though, you say it should have just said Titan because it hasn't earned that Enterprise name, and it doesn't make any freaking sense. So it's nothing wrong with it being a Titan. It should have stayed Titan.
Doesn't always
That
have
should
to
have
be
been
about the Enterprise.
No.
Again,
That's what I mean.
it's
If you're
unearned.
gonna do a new show,
Yeah.
have it just be the Titan, and then it's already got a history because if anyone who's watched that, it's like, oh, it's already been through loads of shit with that. So it's the Titan. It is what it is.
Apart from Discovery and Voyager, and they had to be exceptional in their own right as starships. Okay, because Voyager was separated from the fleet, and Discovery had a special spore drive that was never seen ever again. If you had the Titan TV show, you could have had the Enterprise cameo in the background somewhere, knowing it's doing something. Then you've got the perspective of what it's like to be on a mid-tier starship in the Federation fleet instead of just always being on the flagship, right? Which you got a sense of almost in Voyager, because they weren't the best. They weren't the best of the best because you had Marquee and you had dropouts and stuff. But the Enterprise represented the pinnacle of development in terms of starship and personnel.
Yeah.
And so, what would life be like on a middle ship? Not like Lower Decks, but more serious.
That's why, Lower Decks. That's why I'm saying Lower Decks is quite good because it's like it focuses on like the shitter class of ships, where it's like, oh look, it's a smaller one. It's not so important, and you always hear about the stories of the bigger ships that you know of in your head.
Right.
You're like, that's good.
Definitely.
So that's why I'd like to see. Yeah, that'd be cool. See a show, live action show, focus on the smaller, not so big time ships.
Right. Good. And you could have set it up as a TV show where the story doesn't have to be the end of the world stakes. They can just be diplomatic disputes, a virus, just random stuff. Some crazy guy who's just fucking with the crew. Like you probably don't know him, but there's one called the Crazy Okuna, I think, and he's just some guy who just has sex with everybody on board the Enterprise D, and then they think he got this woman pregnant, and there's this political dispute between these two worlds, and in the end, the son is like, "No, I got your daughter pregnant." Oh, okay, then problem solved. He just stole a gem. It's just like low stakes, friendly, fun shit.
Yeah.
It'd have been perfect for the Titan. Do I sound spiteful? No, I just want it to be better. It just isn't, and I'm sorry that if you're listening and you don't agree, it just isn't Star Trek. It's Terry's toys.
Terry's toys.
Terry playing with his fucking toys.
Speaking of toys, what did you think of the post-end credit scene with Jack and you know who?
It's just fan wank. Somehow he died in season 2. I don't know. I don't care because I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But people are saying, it contradicts season 2, and Q just says, well, how
Q's back.
Three-dimensional you think? They should have had a young Q to have face-tuned him. At least then he would have, aligned with Jack Crusher. But then why? Why does he need Jack Crusher? Because you're trying to say, again, you're setting it up for another show.
Yeah.
It isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And then he's going to do something instrumental like his brother, his half-brother.
It could have been a different Q. It could have just been another version of him, or just another actor playing him.
Why even bother?
I know you have to bring in the character. Yeah, exactly. Why bring in another character like the Borg, and then you've got Q again? But have something new.
You could have had the crew leaving Space Dock, and they see the Enterprise G. That would have been because an end credit sometimes doesn't pay off anyway. But at least we know in that universe they're on the Titan and they see the Enterprise G being recreated or created. Sorry. So again, it's about that. There's a subtext there about renewal, growth, continuation. And it's not just everything's just packed onto this one ship, and then that ship becomes the ship of interest.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you remember Beverly in the beginning of this series said, "Oh, I didn't want to be next to you because everything was always happening to you."
Okay, yeah.
At the end of this episode, Picard says, "I always knew the stars were always in my favor." Really? That you've just undermined a huge part of what it took to be Picard. Everything is in his favor. Is he just showing off? Picard doesn't show off. And how is it in his favor? What has ever been in his favor? He's gone through so much shit.
What happened to his woman?
Laris, exactly. His hot Romulan side chick. People are asking, did he go with Laris? Did he go with Beverly? What's going on? Why isn't she in the bar?
He's like, I won't be long.
Why?
She's still there waiting.
Why can't Laris be at the bar? Why can't Guinan be at the bar
Yeah, Guinan was at the
as
bar,
another
yeah.
cameo? Because she was
They
at the
went,
wedding
"Oh."
of Riker in Nemesis, and she didn't really have many
They sort of,
lines.
they sort of said that, oh, she's giving us the stink eye or something. But she, like insinuating that she was there, but she wasn't.
The Enterprise D is only commanded by the TNG crew. Why? Captain Shaw could have been on there easily. So could Seven and Raffi if you wanted it to be. But no, you've got to put our heroes exclusively on screen in that particular scene. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's contrived. To me, it's contrived. But because you're singling them out. Now, I get it for the feels and everything, but I can't just see them sitting around a bar drinking together. Why isn't Raffi and Seven joining them? So you've got that separation. I don't like that because it further emphasizes that what Seven and Raffi did was actually pointless and inconsequential.
It was pointless and inconsequential.
Yeah, I know,
Like I said,
but it's emphasizing that. It's emphasizing that because you're not allowing everybody to be there. Like the wedding, Riker's wedding had everybody. Even Will Wheaton was in that wedding. Did you know that?
Oh, you can just piss off.
Yeah, but he was there. Wesley Crusher was at that wedding, and Guinan was there. So they actually bothered to bring back some people.
I'm glad that didn't go anywhere, by the way, with him.
Yeah, but he was in season 2, wasn't he? With Soji.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't go in anywhere. He was like insinuating there's going to be like this bloody time traveling bloody secret thing that he was part of, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm glad they disappeared into the ether, never to be fucking seen again.
Why didn't Wesley Crusher meet Jack Crusher? Why not have a scene with them two?
Oh, no, don't.
It would have been better than Q, and it would have been better than having him on the Enterprise.
No, Wesley's bad. Bad Wesley. No, stay away.
I'm trying to make it better.
No, that wouldn't have made it better. That would have made it 10 times worse. Imagine him on the same ship as Raffi. You just be like,
I think I don't have anything else to say. We're gonna otherwise we're gonna talk about little things at this point. But would you?
Like it.
It has no replay value for me for whatsoever. But would you watch it again?
I wouldn't watch it again. I thought it started strong. It was too ambitious at the end. It's too ambitious, and it was felt. And there was just too many plot holes and obvious ones as well. Even if you're like not a Star Trek fan, even if you're like a science fiction fan in general, there was so many things sticking out. I can't ignore that. I'm asking questions why that's happening, and things should be just not be. Things should be happening differently to what they are on screen, and things could have been so much better had they did things differently. Like you say, with the Titan just fucking off from the entire. They couldn't take that. It's one ship against all them. Realistically, anybody would be like, we've got to get away from here because we're going to die. There's no way we can take on all these ships. So common sense would overrule anything like that. Like, oh, we've got to do what we can. No, you pillocks. You can fly in the opposite direction. Go do something like what could help, like go help the Enterprise D, which that was another thing, by the way. How in the goddamn... She's like, oh, they're at Jupiter. It's the Enterprise. Oh, it's a Borg cube. Oh, so you can sense it now, can you? You've got it on your sensors and you can see it. How the fuck? How the fuck? It doesn't make any sense.
You stole my line. How dare you, Adam? You're supposed to be the defender of this show.
You can't. That's what I mean, though. I'm a fan of like science fiction and stuff like that, and I do like Trek. I'm not as knowledgeable as you are, but you can see these glaring omissions, these problems, and you're like, you can't ignore them. So, like you, I wanted to like. I do overall. I like the start, but then the end, it tailed off, and it was just like it's so disappointing because this could have been like really good if they just kept it simple and not have the ending it was and not have the villain it was because it's too ambitious, it's too big, and it can't be done in like a one episode thing. It can't. So
it was.
That's the problem, and that's why it didn't work.
You just reminded me. Raffi says, "Oh, there's a Borg cube there." And they're going to fight in the Enterprise D. And she turns around and says, in that relic, it's like, hang on, it's younger than you.
and then they try and say,
they keep saying relic.
The show's like trying to say like, oh, it's old, that ship. And it's like, it's not that fucking old.
But they keep saying the word relic over and over again. And I hated that. And again, the Enterprise is younger than her. She's like 50 something.
I think a relic would be referring to like Kirk's Enterprise. It'd be like,
right.
Oh, that's a relic.
By the way, there was some analysis about. I'm trying to wrap this up, but you just reminded me of something. So everybody under 25 is now a mindless zombie, and only the old people can save the day. And I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but the show is trying to say, on a subtextual level, young people are just mindless drones with all the latest technology surrounding them, which is the Federation Unified Fleet bullshit and the new transporters and whatnot. So you need the old people to save you. That's what the show is saying, and people are picking up on that. But at the same time, if you keep saying something is old when it's not, then that's the attitude that people have when, let's say, I've got an iPhone 12, and people will say, well, it's old. We've got the iPhone 15 now, and we're just upgrading for the sake of upgrading. And the show has also done that by saying, well, the F is destroyed and the E is destroyed. The only good Enterprise is a new Enterprise, which is what you were saying before. Like, why don't you have the D? Recommission the D, because he repaired it. He repaired all of it from the mothership. That's what the show is saying then on a subtextual level.
That's what I mean. They sort of prop it up on one hand, and then they sort of mock it on the other. Oh, it's the most prestigious, and then it's like, it's old. And it's like, what is it? What is it meant to be good? It's the best thing ever, or is it like it's a relic of the past? Make up your mind.
You know what I found pointless? I forgot to mention this before. The Enterprise is shooting the mega cube, and it's doing the Death Star trench run effort, and yet there's actually no point in firing back. That thing is so big that those phases that they shoot and then they pass, even if you destroy them, you're not going to encounter it again. So it's pure for spectacle, because it's still got other phases and photon torpedoes that can hit the Enterprise. And no time whatsoever does Beverly say, the Borg have adapted to our weapons.
I like the aesthetics inside. I like the way it looked. I like the makeup and the Borg, the ones that are... I liked all that. It's a good idea. It looks good. But
production values are great.
Around it.
It's just the writing.
Around it, though. Yeah, everything around it just ruins it.
Maybe some people think we're spiteful because we don't mention enough the good things. We can agree that the production values are really good. The CGI is really good. Those things have developed over the years. Go back to the very first episode of the Borg. It's just white face paint. And then you can see where they stuck the tube into his side, and you can just pull it off. But now it looks so much more realistic. So makeup, the technicals, the recreation of the bridge, or the recreation of the bridge, and you can actually press the buttons and it lights up to acknowledge. There's all these little technical advancements that they want to share with you, and it's like, that's great, that's all great. Everything is great in how it looks. But when it comes down to the writing, it brings it all back down, and it's like, why? What's the point? How? When? Who? You're just asking all the question words. That's not spiteful.
This final episode just fell on its arse a bit, definitely.
Right, 100%. It's let down by the lack of imagination with regard to the writing. That's not spiteful, and I've never considered whatever I've said spiteful.
I've been the defender of it. I've been the defender of it.
But they're attacking me. They're attacking me, not you.
But even I can't ignore the things in this. I can't. Otherwise, it'd just be ridiculous. Someone who's watching it, you can't ignore it. It's there. The things are there.
This is how I take negative criticism and try to make it into a positive, because we've been reviewing this, but for this final episode, for me, I'm more self-aware of how other people perceive us, and I'm trying to reconcile that with not being spiteful or being super aware that I've never been spiteful. And it's like a third aspect to this review. It's very interesting. We've got to say, it's like, how do you critique something without getting people upset so that they
just keep being spiteful?
No, because you want there to be a positive takeaway. And I like the fact that this person is saying this thing. I can then further emphasize certain points that maybe I would never have addressed before. Yeah. But I do get to say that the production values are great. Can't fault the production values.
There is positives in it. There is. But but there's also really a lot of negatives.
There are a few tiny things, like when they're on the way to Jupiter in the Enterprise D, it's like, okay, it feels like a TNG a little bit, but it's not enough there. What's surrounding it is garbage.
I like the scene as it coming in. I liked it. It looked
right.
It's
reminiscent
so of
TNG.
It looks really good though. Yeah.
Right. And the Enterprise D looks great in with 2020 visuals, better than it did as a model. There are things that are great about it that are good, but they're so small with everything else that surrounds the story, which just doesn't make any sense or is just bullshit. Whatever. I guess thank you for reviewing these episodes with me with your schedule. This is unprecedented, and
it's okay. If I have seemed out of it in some episodes, it's because it's late at night and
it's fine.
I'm like not fully awake, but I give you the best I can. What I have.
Thank you, Adam.
Right.
And for those that are still here at the end, we're going to be doing a summary of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, because Adam's binge watched it all. He hasn't watched Andor yet, but hey, he's not perfect. But if we do it before Strange New Worlds season 2 comes out, then maybe we can talk about those episodes as well. Maybe not on a weekly basis. Thinking of you here, but we can review them.
Well, what we could do is like we'll do Strange New Worlds, and then we can do an episode where we're, I don't know, riffing about some other pop culture stuff as well.
Yeah,
just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, can do. Or we could just do 30-minute reviews, stick to 30 minutes of Strange New Worlds, because I'm not a huge TOS fan, and a lot of the canon violations won't stick out for me. So I'll just won't bother with that. And you know even less than I do about TOS.
Well, I'm hoping they stay away from Discovery references and stuff. As much as they can stay away from that and separate themselves from that, the better.
They will have, because already in the trailer they've got different Klingons that are reminiscent of the proper Klingons instead of the Klingorks that they got in Discovery.
Yeah, I saw those.
So that looks good in a sense.
Yeah,
looks hopeful. It is my favorite Star Trek Nutrek series.
You've just got a thing for Captain Pike.
So there'll be less spite in those reviews. Guaranteed.
Okay, good. Yay, let's fight.
Well, thank you again, and I'll end this now. And everyone, thank you for watching the 10 episode reviews. Yeah, take care, dude.